We're on, okay. I'd like to call to session the March school board meeting for the Newburg Arts School District. We do have a quorum. All the members are here. This time, if you please join me for a salute to our flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of agenda. So I need a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Birdsong.
Second.
Second, Mr. Brookshire. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 7-0. There's no public comment. Move on to consent agenda, and your consent agenda are minutes from the February meeting and also the financial statement.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion, Mr. Birdsong, to approve.
Second.
Second, Mr. Thompson. Any further discussion? Seeing none, proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries. Tony, you good? Motion carries 7-0. Ready for approval of the bills. You should see there were some added this morning. You have two documents in there. Did you break?
Not yet, not yet.
The night's still young, though.
All right.
I'm gonna lay mine down.
Learning there, right?
You're gonna hit yours too with your computer.
Yeah, it's just how my day's gone, but
It's okay. Yeah, we have signs. Did you notice we have signs?
And you do. Look at that.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Take it right home.
We thought we'd use them every month.
Oh, we're gonna use them.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Huge.
Well,
That's gonna take it
these
home.
guys came up with that, and I
We
think it's
did.
a pretty good deal.
Really nice.
Very
we
nice.
should have them out.
Yeah,
That way everybody watching on camera knows who we are.
that's right. And they look good.
Yeah.
Start moving
around. I'm gonna have all the names in front of me. What are we doing now?
Approval of bills.
Waiting on Tony.
Motion?
We're waiting on Tony.
No, nobody's moved to move anything yet.
Oh,
Tony, you got anything?
trying to give Darla a chance. She's always way behind.
How far you want me to dig?
I know the week she's had as well.
It's been a week.
I'll make a motion that we approve.
Yeah,
And then we'll wait a minute for Tony to catch up.
He didn't have, oh, doesn't look like he's got a whole bunch scribbled down.
He's just throwing that.
I looked over
Must be
Murray.
good, I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Birdsong, second Mr. Thompson to approve the bill. Any further discussion? Seeing none, proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 7-0. Ms. Strain? It says that it's your turn. You have students with you?
Yeah.
Are they going to introduce themselves?
Yeah, so I'll present first, and then they have a part of their presentation, and they'll introduce themselves at that time.
Very good.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Great.
Are you good if I present here, or do you want me to go up there?
Wherever
or-
you want, wherever you're most comfortable.
I'll be up
Do
here.
you need a chair?
No, I couldn't.
They kind of hold you down and put you in
Do
a
you
chair,
want
doesn't
this
it?
podium up?
I knew that.
No, is this okay? Am I okay right here?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. You guys feel free to present
Not bad.
wherever you feel.
That's not what you
She's
say.
even Saturdays going to.
Well, present the podium if you want, but I couldn't present myself.
Carry it.
Okay, so here is
We're
our,
going here?
yeah, it's on there, and then you also should have a copy of it.
Got it. I saw it in the
Yeah,
back.
so it should be about the same. They've got a slide in there about introduction, so there could be a slight change if we made an edit or something, but most would be the same. So I think everyone knows me, but my name's Ms. Strain. I'm the high school agricultural education teacher and FFA advisor, and we're happy to give our annual board report, as well as our FFA members. Officers are here to give you a little bit of an FFA report. So like any good meeting that I teach them, here's our little agenda of our presentation. So my half is going to be the ag program. I'm going to go over those 4 things with you, and then they're going to go over the FFA overview. So to begin, talk to you a little bit about enrollments. You may have remembered these numbers or seen these numbers. They change year to year, but that is kind of what our enrollment looks like. I do have a handful. You'll notice the 10th grade class is larger than the 9th grade class. That's fairly unusual. Usually they're in pretty well order. I do have some new students that have come into my program from other schools, and so they have joined my Ag Science 1 class, which would typically be, they are actually sophomores and they would have come into Ag Science 2, but because maybe at the school they were at they didn't take Ag, or it wasn't an offering of that district, just the way scheduling and funneling happens, I've gotten a lot of 10th grade enrollment over the course of the year, and those were, I did that at that's what my February enrollment looked like at that point. I may have had a little 1 or 2 adjustments since then, but that's where my enrollment stands. Those 9th graders are all in my Ag Science 1 class, and together, and that's the majority of the 9th grade class, I believe, that I have enrolled in Ag Science 1, so that's kind of a little bit different. It is an elective as a choice, but the majority of the 9th grade are with me. You can tell that I'm going to lose a big group of seniors. There's a portion of those seniors very active 4-year members with me, so that's a exciting thing to see them be completers of our program, but also a big loss. Over the last this semester and last semester, I've taught exploring 8th grade Ag to 26 8th graders. So every 8th grader that's come in, and whenever it made sense, but for the most part, they've all been able to explore Ag. This is my first year to not have hunter education in my Ag class, so we've been able to focus a little bit more on core content of agriculture, not as much on conservation. So we haven't touched that conservation piece because they've been doing that with Ms. Ford. And then I've been certifying them at the end of the semester for their hunter education. So that's been neat to start to get them more ready for 9th grade Ag. And so each kid will spend a semester, then they roll on to hunter ed. Our FFA enrollment is right at 65. We've been hovering in that 55 to 65 number over the last couple years. You do have to understand that you can be an FFA member on my roster for till you're 21 or till your 4th national convention. So there are some students that are staying on my roster that are out of school, and they're staying on for scholarships, award applications. Like Eli is still on my application, is still on my membership as he got his American degree. Gabby's saying they got their American degrees this fall. So they stay on that enrollment. So active members, I would say somewhere in the 55-ish number. There's about 10 that decide to stay enrolled over the course of those 3 years. My current course offerings, they're not entirely different, but they're in order of when the student would come and take them to me. And this, for most of you, this isn't new information, but I see the 8th graders in exploring agriculture for a semester course. That's changed over the 7 years, but I feel like that's the best way to get them introduced into the Ag program and get them to start to see what the Ag facility looks like. Ag Science 1 is typically for 9th grade or 10th graders. It's their first time to take the course. Over the last couple of years, depending on how big that Ag Science 1 class is, sometimes I've had to take sophomores into Ag Science 2. It's not always ideal because they miss a lot of the beginning foundational information. So my Ag Science 2 is primarily students who have been in Ag Science 1 with me, and I believe there are about 22 kids in that class. And then my Advanced Ag Science changes between Advanced Ag Science, which highlights a little bit more production based Ag, and then Principles of Animal Science, which it's more animal science stuff. So that's a rotational course, usually offered all year long. And then my Floral Design has been a semester or a year-long course, which is the change from 2 years ago when I had it as a semester course with Food Science. Food Science is a year-long course, and my Mechanics and Construction, those names change, but the courses stay the same. Then I do have a handful of students that are doing an Ag Flex or an Ag SAE occupational experience. They're doing, their SAE is tied to agriculture, and so they are doing, that gives them an opportunity to stay members. National FFA says you must be enrolled in the Ag class, so that is their Ag class. For some of them, they have another class with me. For some of them, that's their only class. They report those hours in their record book and on forms with me, and they're going out and doing their experiences. And so those are neat opportunities for us to offer. And I do observe them through, SAE visits and cooperative experiences like that. This chart should be very familiar to you. This is a state chart. This comes from my state report that I do every fall. So when a student comes into the Ag department, they're asked at their current grade level, there's kind of two parts to this. So I inventory all students. So if ninth grader will come into me, a ninth grade female, and they'll tell me what class they're interested in. That's another piece of data that I did not include. That's a look of our entire program based on percentages. The number above the percentages is how many students chose that. So the pink, which is our largest, which won't surprise you, didn't surprise me, we have a lot of students interested in ag mechanics and technology. Essentially, students are, I know that the majority of some of the students in my program are not going to pursue necessarily an agricultural related career directly. There's a lot of careers that are indirectly tied to agriculture. And so I'm asking them to choose only one career path and one of these 6. So we have to understand that that plays into some of this data. They can only choose one. A lot of students are interested in multiple things. Those of you in production ag, you know that you've got to use some mechanic skills. You've got to use some plant science skills. You've got to use some animal science skills to have production farm in our area. You're using all of those skills, but you're maybe interested in taking one of these classes. So I say, look at it at what path best aligns with what your career is and what aligns with where your interests lie. And it often changes between their 9th grade year and their 12th grade year. And so that data is hard to compare as my groups of kids change. But you'll see that I just ranked them in order over on the right side. Food science, my class has expanded quite a bit. Last year, I only offered that course to 11th and 12th graders. This year, we invited 10th grade in there. So we went from having about 12 students to about 26 students in that class. So Missouri FFA is kind of overwent a change. It used to be the largest project that kids had was beef production ownership on their own farm or beef production placement on their own farm. We're seeing more and more students have a placement SAE in the food service industry. So as that FFA starts to see that change and students working away from the family farms, or maybe they're not have the opportunity to work on the family farms, they're working in the food industry, which you know is one of the largest parts of the ag industry. So that's not too surprising to me. Follows right down to animal science and plant science are very close in there. Ag business, I do see a lot of students that want to own their own business, so that's usually where they fall into entrepreneurship and the idea of owning their own business. And then end at natural resources. I don't currently teach any high school natural resources or conservation classes, so I say that probably has an impact on where their career lies. I believe that we have a lot of students interested in that and a lot of good opportunities, you know, for MDC and around here for them to work, but because I don't teach a high school level class, I don't think that always encourages their mindset. So, but again, they're only asked to choose one, so that changes. A lot of kids are interested in a lot of things, especially in the 9th and 10th grade level. So you guys are very familiar with my facilities, but I just included some pictures of us utilizing the facility recruitment-wise. We've used it all different ways, from the kitchen to the floral lab. Lots of labs, lots of hands-on learning. I truly believe that's the heart of where ag programs exist. I believe that that's what not just our students at Newburg need, but our students everywhere need to be hands-on learning. That is the way that, I mean, I'm a kinesthetic learner. I like to see it, I like to do it, and that's really important to me, and I think most of our students fall in that. So, partnerships over our last 7 years, I tried to look back to what have we done to try to create and immerse ourselves in the community. And I think these are some things we were able to, Phelps County Farm Bureau hosts an annual meeting. We were able to, they are starting to transition their annual meetings to be in local ag departments to showcase to the community what ag departments are doing. A lot of people, once their student or grandchild or child is out of ag, they don't come back into those facilities. They don't see what those kids are doing. So from our Farm Bureau board, we decided we're starting to view those different ag departments. So we started actually here, there in our cafeteria. That's the president of Missouri Farm Bureau, Garrett Hawkins, presenting last fall to the group. And that was definitely a different crowd than came to our open house a year ago. So it was good for them to see our facilities and see some different things and really be proud of that. We'll transition to Rolla and then St. James and then see where we're at in 3 years if we want to continue that trend. So that's a partnership that we've had. I serve on the Phelps County Farm Bureau board, so some of that connects. I'm also, students are pretty involved in the Phelps County Fair and the Pulaski County Fair. There's scholarship opportunities. There's SAE opportunities for those students. We had a student last week receive an SAE grant from the Pulaski County Board. So really neat opportunities for students, and that's what our goal is. We've been able to partnership with the Newburg Days Committee and carried the flags and helped with the glow dance and did a lot of really cool things. So I think that's great. My goal, as I told you before, is to get students involved in community activities, because those students someday will be sitting here, they'll be sitting on boards and doing things for the community. That's what I believe is important. So, the top is a local boutique in Licking. We have one student doing Ag Flex program. She was one of my floral design students last year, and the florist there I went to college with, she called me over the summer and said, hey, the student came for a job interview. She said, would you hire her? I said, yeah, absolutely. If I owned my own flower shop, 100% she'd be the first one. So she leaves half a day after my classes and some other classes, and she goes and works at that flower shop, and she's going to continue that partnership. So I think those are really neat opportunities. We got to do our first wedding in floral design, so that was a really neat partnership with our community, just getting our students engaged in real hands-on things. So that's kind of the end of my presentation. I can take questions now. I can take questions at the end. If you think of any, they've got a question slide at the end of theirs. I appreciate you listening to me. Hopefully I didn't talk too fast or too much. I know some of it's a review, and a lot of you are immersed in what we're doing in our program, so I appreciate that. They've got lots of slides of activities and successes and accomplishments that our chapters had.
Awesome. Thank you, Ms. Drain.
You guys might want to go up there if it's easier for you, but you can.
You're not gonna be on the frame.
If you're up there, you won't be on camera.
Okay, first, we just have a couple pictures of the top corner of the blood drive is like a blood drive, what was it called? Conference that we went to at the headquarters of the blood drive that we go to, and we have twice a year. And then our officer team down in
Hello. If you don't know me, I'm Braden. I've been in FFA for 4 years, and I'm currently the president. My SAE is specialized crop production, ryegrass sweet corn. My goals in FFA are to go to state for my CDE, which I've already done that, and to get my state and American degree, which I'm receiving my state degree in April. And my favorite FFA event was National Convention.
Okay, my name is Paige. I'm currently the vice president of our chapter. I'm a junior. My favorite activity for FFA events is the barn dances. I always enjoy them. We usually have 2 a year, one at the beginning, the area barn warming, so it's all of the area schools. And then we have one at the end of FFA week with Rolla and Salem, and they're always fun. And then my SAE is Dickey's Barbecue, and I've been working there since my freshman year, and I practice safe food production, safe food handling, and customer service skills.
I'm Laney Coughlin. I'm a Sentinel, and this is my first year being an officer. My favorite activity in FFA is going to National Convention, and my SAE is outdoor recreation, and I'm a lifeguard. I'm another Sentinel, and then this is my first year being an officer, second year in FFA. My favorite activity is National Convention too, and my SAE is ownership/entrepreneurship by raising chickens.
So you're a millionaire is what you're saying right now.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm in this year. I'm a Sentinel as well. This is my second year in FFA, first year as an officer. My favorite activity is also barn dances, and I play team sports. That's all I was going to say.
I'm Nikki Collier. I'm the reporter. This is my second year in FFA, my first year as an officer. My favorite activity was the National Convention, and my SAE is running a plant shop. I have beef cattle production and chicken production as well.
Next, we're going to talk about our leadership opportunities that we offer. So this is usually one of our first trips we take at the beginning of the year. It's the area Mountain Grove Area Leadership Conference. And there's just like, there's usually a guest speaker, and then we have different workshops that we like break into like with different schools, and like we're usually not with anyone from our own school, so that's nice, and we just like learn different skills, and then we go eat after, and that's a nice social time.
Next is FFA camp. It's during the summer, so it's not during school, but it's very fun, and you get to go swim, and there's different workshops. You can also earn a pin, and Nikki did, so I'll let her talk about that.
So at FFA camp, if you attend, they have a list of activities, and you have to complete 13 activities
to get your state leadership pin. And if they have an officer team at camp as well. So my friend Vanessa was an officer, and I just went along with her to get the state pin. If you're an officer, you have to attend every single workshop. I attended most of the workshops. I didn't attend every single one of them. But by the end of it, they had a whole ceremony, and they gave us our pins and a paper that told us we got our pins and completed the workshops.
If you didn't do, there was also more things to do besides the workshops. If you didn't want to do a workshop, you could also go down to the lake and swim. At the end of the week, they had a canoe race. Jace, I think, is in the front of that one at the bottom. And
The one that's thinking.
yeah.
I'm sure Jace was in there.
And then at the end of the week, towards the end of the week, at the top corner, when we're like standing on the sidewalk, we had like guests, or like there was kids who chose public speaking. They all did a speech, and then there was like us right there were holding the lights for them to walk through, so it was nice.
There's also archery and other things that you can
Oh yeah, we give a like softball, archery, with other. Okay, this is my first year doing the public speaking thing. So me and Vanessa attended the Public Speaking Academy over spring or winter break, and we just learned different like skills to how to get better at public speaking. And I just did my second public speaking contest, and I placed 5th again, so I was out of 11, so it was bad, but I enjoyed it. And
Let's just move on from that. She
Yes.
said.
officer training. So we all go to that, and it basically just like helps us know how to be leaders in our chapter and how to lead our chapter better. And we also get closer during it. So like you can see like bonding like with the hula hoop and just like how to communicate and just different leadership opportunities. There's also like state officers or like area officers there, so like they'll help you like learn what to do better and like other things.
I definitely learned over my years in FA that if you have a strong officer team, your chapter is going to be strong. If you don't have a strong officer team, like your program is going to slack. So I feel like that's a big thing, and we tend to all get along and work well together, so that's good. Okay, this is Youth Leadership Day at the Missouri State Capitol. None of us have attended this, but Braden, he doesn't remember.
Student SAEs. Oh.
Okay, so this is our placement essays. Mine is Dickie's Barbecue. I already said that. I practice safe food handling. Tucker, I can't see that. When it's
I'm a lifeguard at Splash Zone in Rolla. This is my first year working this summer, and I just learned a lot of new skills, and I got my lifeguard certification.
Always good to have that.
So my SAE was beef, cattle, poultry, and specialty plant production. My specialty, because I work mostly with house plants and with the different variegations and types there are. I completely own mine, so the difference between a placement is you work for somebody. Ownership is when you completely own it and you typically run a business with it or you own the livestock.
And mine is beef production, sweet corn production, and swine production. For my beef production, I have a heifer, and that just had a calf, and I have pigs during the summer that I feed out and then sell at the county fair. And then I grow sweet corn throughout the summer to sell in August for anybody who wants sweet corn.
And then Braden Spurgeon, he does vegetable gardening and poultry production.
career opportunity. So we do a lot of field trips throughout the year, like a lot of educational and fun field trips. The first one, GAR, Truck and Equipment, we do that during FA week, and they give what do you say, scholarship?
Like an award.
An award out at the end of the week, like throughout the local schools that participate. And we just like share all over our social media, like our different, our SAEs. And then this year, I think they did like a food drive too. We did win 2 years ago, right? We didn't win this
The
year.
first year they did it, you guys won.
The first
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But they just give us a tour of their building and let us learn about their different things.
And then we go to Wardak as well, and you get to stick your hand in a cow. So that's pretty cool. So they just like basically,
Everybody likes that.
they basically tell you just like what like is going on inside the cow, and it's like different things that happen on a farm.
How many stomachs does a cow have?
But
How many stomachs does a cow have?
4.
It's a trick now.
Trick question.
It's a trick now.
Farm Fest, we
You're not gonna answer it. 4 is not right, but it's okay. It's all right. We'll go over that lesson later. Farm Fest,
we-
you ready? Go ahead.
Yeah, Farm Fest, we usually do that in October. It's just like different career booths, college booths. And we just kind of have a fun time and like also are learning at the same time.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun there. Contest teams.
Okay, so our CD, our CDs consist of dairy foods, livestock evaluation, and floriculture. Those were just the ones we participated in last year. Dairy foods consist of 10 different milks, 10 different cheeses, and there's also a math portion. Livestock evaluation.
In floriculture, they give you a list of different plants and flowers, and you have a plant identification list, disease identification, greenhouse tools, and then a math portion of it. So it's like the dimensions of the greenhouse and how much you would calculate for a price of a bouquet you made, possibly. You have to have 4 people on a team to make a team, so we almost didn't have a team, but then Canyon agreed to do it with us last year, so we're very grateful for Canyon. And I can't remember how far we went.
The districts, you were in the like silver degree, silver level of districts.
So, no, it's okay.
Also on dairy foods, we made it to districts and we were alternates to state. Yeah. We also did FFA knowledge. It's whenever you're a freshman, you can only do that. We went to districts, but we were unable to do it because of dairy foods. But we placed. What did we? We did pretty good, I think. We were fourth in knowledge. So yeah.
Our knowledge team this year placed first at area, and Abigail Lewis was the high individual, so that's a good accomplishment for them. They just did it recently. Though, so
Yeah, I saw that. That was fantastic.
Just a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
That's
last
cool.
week, I think.
That's a hard contest.
Yeah.
Hard one to win.
Yeah, that was tremendous. That was great.
Fall
Dave's
public
places
speaking.
names. Right?
Yes.
Dave's places names.
Dave's places names.
That's what
Yeah.
it's all about.
Abigail actually was, she was first time individual and she was 20 points ahead of the next person.
Wow.
Really?
So, yeah.
My goodness.
So pretty impressive.
So
stuff
she
for their
won
team.
it.
20 points ahead of the next team. So they were definitely, and you get, it's 100 questions, so they get
Yeah.
1 question per point. So impressive. So we'll see. Yeah, freshmen. So, and their team is pretty competitive against each other. So we'll see how they do it.
It's a difficult contest.
It
You
is.
don't know what they're gonna ask because the whole memory.
Pretty sharp.
The whole manual is
grabs.
up for grabs,
Up for
and
grabs.
kids, you keep studying and remembering more as you
It's
go.
100 questions. Can be anything.
Yes. Any questions? Yeah.
So
I'm sorry. Go
you're
ahead.
good. Fall public speaking is a little different than spring public speaking. So in fall, I had different topics to choose from. In fall, I chose the Teach Ag speech, and the speech consists of, it's like between 6 and 8 minutes, and then it's 5 minutes of questions. So it's a long speech. And then in spring, you can pick any topic you want related to ag or FA. I chose to just keep my same speech and kind of perfect it a little bit since I already knew it. And
Next is achievements. We had 26 entries at the Most State Fair, and I believe those are the 2 winners right there. We also go to the Pulaski County Fair, and there's a cornhole tournament, and you can win cornhole cornhole boards. And in that picture, we won. We won 2 years in a row, I believe.
Yeah, they're traveling board, so they get to keep them for another year.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And the top, Gabby and Eli, they received their American degrees this year, so that was a huge accomplishment. I'm pretty sure they're the first, right? Yeah, first out of Newburg FFA chapter, so that's good.
On the bottom right are the 3 state from last year, which was Haley Nelson, Kaylin Collier, and Ing Boswell.
And this year, the ones receiving their state degree are Braden Hammock and Ariana Oliver.
This guy.
Oh, just got to get in.
Okay, next is the other activities, and we have the blood drive. With the blood drive comes a scholarship that we give to the Newburg students. We actually have one coming up next week, March 25th. If any of you guys want to give blood,
Yeah, come to
it would
me.
really help. There's also, we have people from outside come in, we have students give blood, and it's a community thing, so.
Okay, so a couple of our field trips, like we mentioned, the Wardak Farm, which is on the bottom left of page sticking your hand in the cow. And then there's a few from Farm Fest, which there's just a bunch of like companies. So like the picture of Lainey with, it was a scavenger hunt. And then at the very top, on the right, we went to the Missouri State Fair for Food and Security Day, where we packed we packed meals, and then we got to spend the rest of the day at the state fair. And then the bottom is of the boys at the barn dance.
So FFA packed about 180,000 meals that day. So in their session, I think they packed right at 90,000 meals during their like hour and a half session. So pretty fast. It's crazy
Holy
work.
smokes.
So, yeah.
Do they have to work the beef house or anything?
We didn't work at the beef house, but we did pack the meals. So yeah.
Barn dances, I kind of already went over this a little bit, but we attend typically 2 a year. One at the beginning, like in September, is the area barn dance, and that's all the schools. I think that is the one in the bottom left corner. And then during FFA week, we attend Rolla's barn dance that they host, and they invite us, and that's always a good one. And then sometimes we have our own at the end of the school year, but just Newburg, and we invite the 8th graders to try to recruit them. And so that's fun.
Next is National FFA Convention. This is a very big event, and you have to interview to go to it. And there's a ton of workshops there, and then there's guest speakers, there's talent shows, there's a ton of things there. There's also colleges that you can go see and visit, and they'll talk to you like what they offer, like in ag related, and just other things.
This year the guest speaker was Temple Grandin. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of her, but she was really nice to listen to. There's also, what was the attendance? It was like 70-something thousand.
Yeah, about
This year.
76,000.
So if that doesn't play
And it's all it's in Indianapolis now. So
We
it's
also
it's a
ride
drive
with Rolla.
And this year we got to take a charter bus, which is really nice. It was way better than the school bus.
We were living the life. On the way up there, they usually make a couple stops to at different places. This year, you guys stopped where?
We stopped in Illinois at the
world's biggest
city, like not city, but it had world biggest items.
Yeah,
in
like
it.
the biggest rocking chair,
Mousetrap, mailbox,
bird cage,
Cuba.
harbor pole.
Take pictures now.
That was
Kids are
fun.
funny.
Oh, Illinois.
And then they also stopped at a Purdue research farm on the way up there, and they looked at different animals. Okay, say it out loud.
long to get beat out.
Okay, that's it. Any questions?
That was fantastic. Great job.
Yes, thank you. Thank you guys for having us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was a really good presentation.
What's the price on that sweet corn?
It's
They
too
are
far ahead to
responsible.
give you a bundle price right now. So
The
Probably
balloon
more
arch
than
and
they-
banner, and they did the food on this side, yeah.
Please think about donating blood because we need.
We just on Tuesday.
You have a goal when you haven't met it, that's why you're saying all that, right?
We provide breakfast and lunch.
Breakfast and lunch, what a deal.
And the
And
London goes to
walking
Newburg
tacos.
Kids.
Walk and talk.
They go to the Newburg kids, look at them, they're saying.
Do you have any other questions for?
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job,
Thank you,
guys.
Great job, everybody. Great job, even you, Braden.
Get a grip.
Yeah, they did a good job. That
Oh, man.
I would imagine they do have a fun time everywhere they go.
Yes.
It's a phenomenal program.
Oh my goodness, yes. I never did that much about it. Until everything went.
Mr. Simley, you want to do your?
I don't know if
How
I
you
wanna
gonna
follow
do
that.
that? How you gonna follow that?
Funny,
You're already in trouble.
yeah, district I spent my first 25 years at did not have that backpack. So when I got here, wow, what a great way to promote leadership. They do some great things. That's our athletes too. That's same group of kids, and wow, what a job they do. It's awesome.
Well, as I said, when we were talking about trying to recruit kids from like your springs and whatnot, the fact that our kids can do so many different clubs and groups is tremendous.
Yeah, that's right where we took
Not
them
many
to
other
start off.
schools allow you to do that. You pick one and that's your deal. And it could be FFA or a sport. Most times you can't do both. So what we offer here is really unique in a way.
It's awesome. Mine's pretty simple. There's two sheets. You can see first the winter wrap up. Boys basketball finished up with a record of 8-16. Girls basketball finished up with a record of 12-14. We did do our co-op with Dixon. I couldn't have been more pleased. I'll just be honest. I really feel our girls excelled. They got in they did a lot of things that I'm not sure they would have had the opportunities here to do. And it was a tough decision for us to make, whether to co-op or not. But for those three girls, I don't think that anything would have helped them any more than what they did. I was very happy, and I think they'll all three tell you it was a great learning experience. Got to meet a lot of other kids, got to see a lot of different things, got to do a lot of neat things during the season. And it just was an excellent experience for our girls and our boys as well. They had a nice season. Very, very pleased with our winter sports. The second sheet I gave you, it gives you all kinds of different numbers, but just some, we're starting spring sports. So I just put some numbers for you. Baseball, we've got 11, golf, 4, high school track, 16, middle school track, 22, and softball, we decided to co-op with Dixon as well. We normally don't have spring softball. So Dixon called me and just said, hey, we're a few numbers short. We know you don't play spring softball. Would you guys be interested in co-oping with us? And I said, sure. I think our girls that played softball in the fall that do not participate in other sports, I would love for them to participate in softball and give them something to do this spring. So I know they've enjoyed practice so far. Games start tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. But on the other sheet, you can see all of our numbers. It has all our roster entries. That's how many games we play, tournaments, how many coaches we've hired. And of course, we don't have no unapproved coaches. So I couldn't be more pleased with that. Upcoming goals, I just kept it simple. We're doing fall and winter coaches evaluations. I went over our coaches evaluations the last couple weeks. We went over evaluations with our fall and winter coaches. We've still got a few more to do. We're talking about organizing spring camps and clinics. Once we get through tonight, hopefully we can get some elementary stuff going. Once we hire coaches and get things rolling there, they can get together, and we've already had several meetings, and they know I expect this spring for them to do some things, so they've already got that in their plans. And after tonight, I think starting next week, we'll have some better plans that you all can. Athletic banquet will be May 2nd. I look forward to it. It'll be my first banquet here. Got a lot of feedback from our coaches and student athletes, what we've done in the past, what we can do to improve. Got some ideas on things we can do that we have not done. So that'll be May 2nd. Of course, we're making recommendations for our coaching staff next month. A couple tonight of our new coaches, and then everybody else in April. Of course, we've still got our handbook. We try to improve on it every year, working on inventories and what we've talked about a lot is trying to get more participation. Whatever we've got to do, whatever it takes to bring our numbers up, we're trying. I've been calling kids in my office. I got a kid I called him in my office, got another golf kid playing golf. I know he was a good kid and wasn't doing anything this spring, so Tony gave me a name and I called him in my office and now he's a golfer. So, we're doing everything we can to
That's all
promote.
it takes.
That's all it took with that one. I've called others in my office and they didn't play, so, but, this one, it did work out. So we're always looking to better communicate with our coaches and parents and community. We do have Sports U that all our coaches are using together now. And something new we're gonna do and we're working on is figuring team GPAs for all our teams. I've done that in the past with the schools I've been a part of, so we're working on it now. We've had a few hiccups getting it done, but that's something that will be done by the end of the school year. So that's just some simple things, that we're working on. Schedules fall and spring for next year are pretty much complete. We're working on fall and winter, I should say, spring schedules for next year. We're working on now. So once all of our coaches are hired, they can look at schedules and we can make some changes. And, we try to change a few things every year based on where we're at. Our teams sometimes we need to lower our competition. Sometimes we need to raise it. So we'll make schedule changes every year. Just simple things like that. I'll just be honest. I feel like it's been a really smooth year. It's my first year. It's a lot of our coaches' first year. I have not had a lot of parent complaints. I have not had a lot of complaints from the community. I feel like my first year here has been a pretty smooth year. We've got a great admin team that helps too. And I think our coaches, for the most part, have done a really nice job. So we haven't had to do a lot of things that ADs don't like to do. So I couldn't be more pleased with being here and the job that our coaches have done. It's been I like to use the word blessing, but it has been a blessing. This has been a great first year for me.
Nice.
And you guys play a part of that as well. You let us do our job. So any questions for me, I'll be happy to answer.
Simile? We appreciate the work you've done. You definitely make us look good.
Well, any feedback that can help me, please. Just anytime, reach out.
We appreciate that. We
My
appreciate
door's
you.
open.
Your number one, I can tell, has always been you're trying to do what's right for the kid. That's the most important thing. An old school administrator, that's what you do. That appears to be what you do every day. So
Well, we have
appreciate
great
that, folks.
kids. They make it easy. I'll just be
yeah,
honest.
does make
I
it easier.
appreciate that.
That does make it easier.
We
I
have
agree
great
with that.
kids.
It does. Questions, Mr. Simley? Appreciate the report. That's nice to have. I'm glad that you come a couple times a year. We'd like that to continue. That way we get to see a wrap up, plus what's expected for that season coming up. So that's always good for us to hear because we don't always hear everything.
Right.
We hear other things, but not all that. So, but that's always good for us to get the numbers on.
Tracy's always telling me I can't come because meetings are so
Well-
much longer when I'm here because I'm so
Sometimes you,
so long-winded.
sometimes you do stretch it on.
That's just an inside joke. That's just an inside joke.
You're doing a really nice job tonight.
He's the one that makes them go longer.
All right.
You know, it's like,
One of the new guys on the end down there.
Yeah, the one maybe on next to you.
Sorry, you gotta answer questions sometimes.
you notice when I signed the board there, I did put 007 just so you guys remember.
That's nice.
That's great.
Way to carry that on. No one else will know what that means.
Oh, the kids were all asking me to like James Bond.
They even knew what that was. That's good.
Impressive.
That's an old movie. We're ready for principals. Melissa, you want to go first this time?
So on the elementary, some things going on with us. The 2 PD days in March, we worked on our Wonders PD. The teachers, it was very well spent. The teachers were thankful to have the time to do that. March 17th, they also used we had a couple hour PD with the Wonders people on the 3rd, and then it was a follow-up to where the teachers could have some time to themselves to dive into that. So they were appreciative of given that time to work. Third grade went on a field trip to the Capitol. They had a good time there. Everything went well there. Pre-KK screenings went pretty good. Trying to think off the top of my head how many we ended up screening. I think we've got pre-K, they're full. We ended up with 11, 12 there, I think. 11, I think. And kindergarten, I think we had around 15. So, you know, they're going to come out of the woodwork later on. They always do. I do think we'll have more than 15 in August, but we did screen around 15 kindergartners. So, Title I reading night, family reading night's coming up on March 25th. We're going to feed them and read and do some MAR tests and have some pizza and just kind of have a good night for family to come and spend some time reading with their kiddos. Too Good for Drugs programs going on. They're here helping through K-4 doing some lessons. Mrs. McClanahan is going to do with the 5th and 6th. We had our third quarter assembly. The April 7th PD day coming up. We're going to get everybody map trained. It's that time of year. So get everybody trained up
No
for
one
that.
said
Yeah.
Say a map train, we're
Yeah. How do we get on that thing out of here?
And we are going to look at so some of our teachers are really interested into getting some extra science curriculum and resources. So we're going to just spend some time throwing that around. Those that want it, I'm going to see what we can do to make that happen. And those that feel like they're good, no pressure. So we had our initial summer school meeting. Doug and I met with Johnny Thompson. I don't remember what day that was, Doug, but been a little bit, yeah. Kind of get that going. We are going to go with the summer's journeys again. The teachers seem to want to do that program. So we got that rolling, and we're going to try to do a little bit more on April 7th with that as well to get that locked in. Professional development, new year, our first year teachers, they're going to be wrapping that up. First grade teachers, they are going to go to Rolla. I did a little networking with the assistant superintendent over there at Rolla, and they use Wonders and UFly, and so my first grade teachers are wanting to go over there and spend an afternoon. They're going to do that on the 7th. They don't have to be map trained because they don't give the map tests. So they're going to spend some time over there at Rolla to watch some UFly and Wonders. And sometimes that's the best way to just learn is to see it in action and be able to communicate with some other teachers that have been doing it for a while. So Miss Mercer has finished up her letters volume 2 training. So she is completely 1 and 2 finished there. And really that's all I have on excitement there. Lots of stuff going on, lots of stuff. Numbers 158 and attendance 92.93%. So holding our own number wise. If we lose one, gain one. So.
Questions, Ms. Wright? Thank you. All right, Mr. Dunn. I didn't know. Your turn. No.
So this was prepared about a week and a half ago. A few updates since then, but attendance staying steady over the last few months. I think we're starting to turn the corner with our sickness. When I ran this report a week and a half ago or so, it was like 91.7. My guess is it's probably a little bit higher now, because I think we've turned the corner with some of the sickness. Our PD day at the beginning of the month, on our side of campus, we spent quite a bit of time going over some artificial intelligence stuff and the ways it can benefit students and teachers, some of the concerns with it, how to combat those concerns, strategies for the classrooms to increase higher order thinking and that sort of things. With it, it's, I probably said before, but today's technology is the worst our kids will ever have. They're going to enter a world where they're expected to have some proficiency with artificial intelligence. It's just the way the world is. And so we've got to do our job to help prepare them for that. We do have, our Google platform does have access to artificial intelligence. You hear about Chat GPT, but it's a version of that. We've unlocked it for our staff. I would say that we're not too far away from unlocking it for our students as our staff starts to get more familiar with it and use it with our students in the classes. But I felt like it went pretty well that day. I know Miss Perry was in here, but I felt like it went pretty well that day. We answered a lot of questions. They got to experiment with it and see what it can do and that sort of thing. So it really was, time well spent there. Our next PD day in April, they don't know this, but hot off the press. No, that's fine. We're going to do a book tasting with them, and the idea is to encourage some personal, professional growth. I've pulled several books off my bookshelf that I feel would be good and of interest for the staff, and let them peruse those books, and then let them pick one that they want to, to have for the summer. Optional, not required. You get one, but if you want one, I'll get it for you. And then you have a book, for the summer to, just to foster professional growth, things that are interested to you. Another idea too, along the lines of some book stuff too, but really want to just encourage that professional learning, So we're going to do that. I've done it before. It's gone pretty well. What happens is, teachers that want more than one book, like, well, I'll get that book if you get that book, and we'll read it and we'll switch and, all that stuff. And so we'll plan on, times where we can come back together and learn from each other, from those two. So we'll just be given a book and be done with it. But, how can we grow together through this experience? And so that'll probably be an ongoing thing, next year as they come back, with that. Couple of FFA things here. They mentioned it. By the way, those are phenomenal kids, a phenomenal sponsor, phenomenal program. Honestly, they are so busy. Sometimes it's hard to keep up with it because they're doing stuff all the time. And it's great stuff for the kids. Braden and Aubriana earning their state degrees, just what an accomplishment for them and for our program, and just, kind of setting a standard there for those who come after them too. They can be done. It takes a little bit of work, but they can do it. They recently had a competition, an area competition in Willow Springs, my alma mater. Knowledge team got first overall in advanced districts. That was Abigail Lewis, Terry Milberg, Ryan Hull, and Wyatt McCormick. Aubriana took fifth overall in her completed placement record book. Braden took third overall in completed ownership record book. Just lots of good things, going there. They, let's see. We had that snow day, anatomy and physiology. We were supposed to go to St. Louis to a cadaver lab. That was going to be our first trip to that cadaver lab. I think I've said before, we want that to be a yearly thing, something kids can look forward to. Like, if I take this class, I get to go to this. So we were able to reschedule that. They're going to go next week. So they're going to go next week to that cadaver lab. So looking forward to hearing about their experiences there. If you saw on Facebook on Tuesday, we had Arrive Alive on campus. And it's just a tremendous opportunity for us to get them on our campus. They're out of Michigan. They travel the country. So we got them when they were driving between New Mexico and Kentucky. And we were able to get them to stop at Newburg. They had to reschedule because of a weather day, but we were still able to get them to come back. And the kids all take surveys after that. So they got to experience driving. They got to choose, do I want to experience driving drunk, drugged, or distracted? And if they're drunk, they can vary the blood alcohol level, in the simulation too, so kids can experience that. The very minimum they would do would be a 1.5. I did that when it was hard to stay in the lanes. It was really hard to stay in the lanes. They're like, well, that steering wheel is just very, it's not working right. Like, it's supposed to be hard to drive. It's not the steering wheel. It's supposed to be hard. But we, they did do surveys. We got survey results back, and I think it's somewhere around 86 or 90% of the kids are like, no, I'm not going to get behind the wheel if I'm distracted or impaired. I'm going to think twice about it, or I'm going to encourage somebody else not to. So those are good survey numbers, from the kids. We do have several that admitted to driving while distracted, but I think we'd all admit that's a problem in our society now, and we want to try to curb that as best we can. But it was good that they got that experience in a safe environment on what that was like. So let's see, we're currently planning our summer school. You know, there's two separate components that really, the journeys part that goes up to junior high. We're working on the high school side of things where our course offerings will be. We hope to wrap that up soon. We're blessed to have Fort Wood recognize some of our students on a quarterly basis. And most recently, we had Skylar Chick and Kaylee Conger recognized for honor and integrity. And so it's just really neat to be able to recognize our kids. They're just have some really great characteristics and carry themselves well. A couple weeks ago, I said last week, but that's when I wrote it. A couple weeks ago, Mr. Perry and I met with a rep for Project Lead the Way. I've continued those conversations with others from Project Lead the Way as we try to plan for next year. So we're optimistic about what we could be able to offer, you know, with that, you know, next year. Frisco League Art Show was recently. If you saw on Facebook, we had a ton of winners. Middle school took first overall, high school took second overall. We had a lot of winners. And so that was just a really good showing.
Who was high school first?
One of our alumni. I take the win on that one. I tell you that. It's Richland. Grace Holter,
It was
our high
Lakeway.
school teacher.
Lakeway.
It's
She was ours.
Lakeway then.
Lakeway,
Yeah.
sorry,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
I get it mixed up. But I also want to say, this is the second year one of my elementary students won,
That's great.
on-site drawing,
That's hard.
Victoria.
Just some really, just what that art department produces, just phenomenal stuff. And I think the team of Miss Guppy, Miss Perry, they just do a fantastic job with our kids.
I don't know how they suck that color
two
out of the
extra
kids, but they
teachers.
get it out.
Oh my goodness, it's awesome stuff.
It's tremendous.
I'd say just being able to walk through the art classes and just watch the kids work and what they're able to produce is really cool stuff. Whether it's the 2D or the 3D, I mean, it is really cool
I
stuff.
can draw a tree, just want you to know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll show you. I'll
And
show
I
you.
bet you it's a beautiful.
I'll show you someday. No, it's impressive.
It is, it's a beautiful
Can I ask
tree.
you
Because that's what I tell my little
Don't-
kids.
don't
You guys
ask
are
me
amazing, you're
questions.
doing it.
No, I've got a question.
No questions.
Is your tree as pretty as the
First thing is, you gotta encourage, you gotta tell them that.
1,000 times. I
Confident.
tell you, I learned how
Make it where they
to,
can-
I'm telling you, I'll show you, Miss Perry. You'll be impressed.
I will be, I will be.
I'm talking about how a grown man could do something that looks like that.
I'm just telling you, you'll like my tree.
Anyway, sorry, Mr. Dunn.
No, that's fine. That's fine. No, it's,
I got distracted, sorry.
no, that's fine.
Good thing you weren't driving.
That's why
Right.
easy for me to do.
FFA, they mentioned their blood drive on Tuesday, the
Did
25th.
they mention that? Yeah, they
They
did.
did. Just-
Maybe in past.
But just a reminder that there's scholarships tied to that. So the more units of blood they get, the more scholarship money we're able to give our kids. And so there are scholarships tied to that. So that's an important thing. And then about a week and a half or so, I'm gonna go to the state principals conference. So I may have some information when I come back from that next month. So looking forward to that. It's hard to get away sometimes, but that's sometimes it.
Yeah,
Spring break.
Me too.
I'll miss Tuesday coming back from spring break.
and when are you going? I'll make sure I'm.
John and I are like, where are you going?
Very good. Any questions for Mr. Dunn? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, Mrs. Kingsley.
Now, I do want to mention, I didn't put it on here, but thank you all for making a difference. It is Board Appreciation Month, and from the staff and the admin team, myself, we appreciate you all and what you do for us and the support that you give us. And so the kids did a great job pulling that together and worked on that. Miss Strain and her kids really did all that. So they did a wonderful job. And then OPA, I just mentioned, they said, yes, we'd love to. So they brought some snacks too. So please enjoy and just know you're appreciated. Admin team had a little something for you on your table. Maybe you can keep for yourself and remember, we do appreciate you all.
CTA was also a part of that,
CTA was a part of which?
the food. Me and
Oh,
Mrs. Strain and the CTA. were
Did
all part of
not
it.
know that. Thank you for telling me that. I didn't realize. Appreciate that too. So Starting off here, financial stability enrollment right now, as of the 12th is 305. Starting to work there been working on the preliminary budget and have that for you in April. And just some things that we're looking at. Basically, where we are is unstable in Jeff City. We don't know where things are going. And so moving forward, very conservatively is what.
I don't think anybody knows where things are going.
Don't either.
It's crazy
It's
right
very shaky ground that we're sitting on, so we want to be very careful and make sure that we take care of ourselves. Obviously, open enrollment, I got to put that on there. It did pass. The House bill 711 passed the House, is now in the Senate. They're on spring break, I think still this week, where they're at. And so, if passed, we don't know how that's really going to impact our school. I've worried about it significantly and what that could do, but then I also try to be positive because we're getting very close that it very well may. And so are there some things that could be positive for our school? I think that's something for us to consider as well. Is it going to be a mess? I think it will, regardless. I think it's going to be a messy, messy thing. But we'll just have to keep our eyes on it, see what's going on. If it does pass, we do have next year. Destiny to figure out how things are going to go, for us to figure out how things are going to go, and then it would begin the following year. So we'd prefer to see it not on there. But it is where we are at currently with our world, so something we'll have to just be ready to navigate if we have to. Recruit, attract, develop, and retain highly qualified staff. Any positions that come available and any current that are available have been posted on Mo Teaching and on our website. We have had quality applicants, had several interviews, so things are going good there. I anticipate very little turnover. I've talked to different people, and we're feeling pretty confident, feeling pretty good. And our admin team is feeling really good about the work that's happened this year and the work we're going to continue to do. And that we just have a very highly invested group of teachers, and we see it all the time. We see the positive impacts in our students, and we're just really pleased with that. So that's a current, at least, feel around our buildings. And then I just want to mention, I know Mr. Dunn kind of alluded to it too, but just being on that cutting edge. AI is a big part of what's going on right now in our world. And so understanding that and helping our teachers figure out how they can tap into it and use it. I know a few graphics are popping up on Facebook, compliments of AI. There are ways that it can really complement the work that we do. So I appreciate the time you take to put that out there to the staff and get them introduced so maybe they can tap into how that can impact their lessons and things that are going on in their classrooms. Develop and enhance quality educational instructional programs. I just want to mention Evaluate is going in the right direction. Things are they're ticking up. We just got March data today. It's not complete because we're going to have some makeup tests and so forth, but I saw some green in there. Things are really going in the right direction. It's very, very encouraging. Elementary, you already mentioned it, Mrs. Wright, but digging into wonders and really understanding a little bit more how that can serve them. We had trainers here and so forth. High school is very heavily involved right now with master schedule, and I think they've wrapped up their MAP and EOC testing schedules this week. I
Yes.
believe y'all are in a good place in that spot, or right now. So, and Dr. Bush working with you all too to make sure that
Yes,
everybody's
yes.
served well. They've spent quite a bit of time on that and making sure that that is really set up to serve our kids well. The timing, as far as when kids will take it, how they'll take it, there are places they'll take it, small groups they'll take it in. There's a lot of things that we can do to really set up conditions that are positive for our kids to feel comfortable to give their very best work. And so I appreciate how much time you guys have put in to just guide our staff in that and to really set our kids up well. The facilities, grounds, and buses, just again mentioning that our RFPs are all out on the district site. Carl has been in touch with different contractors, any of them that are coming down. Tony came up and Carl and Tony and I walked all the sidewalks. I think we found about 21 places where we just need better transitions or improvement. There's cracked places and so forth. And so that is out there, of course. But we're asking that anybody that wants to bid on that one in particular, come up and walk with us, walk with Carl and look, because it's complex, really, the improvements that we need to make with our concrete. And then, of course, you have the entrances to the back. We knew that we wanted to change the entrance in the elementary because it was really an unsafe way to enter the building. Doesn't have a ramp, and it just kind of walks up to the door, and then you have to try to open it with no way to stand there. Then as we got to looking at the middle school one, it is really in need of improvement as well. It was cracking and chipping, and it just needed something too. So that's in there as well. So anybody that you know, send them. We've got them all posted out. They're posted on glass there at central office and some deadlines on there together and so some bids. Cultivating a healthy, safe, warm climate, obviously is always a goal. Mrs. Wright, one of the things that, she's done a lot of different things in the building initiative. They've really grown. They've brought a lot of resources. They've dug in quite a bit, changing things and growing things and developing things. And sometimes that can be a little bit overwhelming. And so she sent out a survey just to really find out where the climate is in her building, and to just determine, what is most important. Where do they go from here? And so really keeping her finger on the pulse of what's happening and where they are. And of course,
Moving forward is what I called it.
moving forward. Yeah. How do you sustain what you've grown and then develop while also taking them with you and not overwhelming? So I know that's been a big focus there. And then, of course, some of them still want to go ahead and move forward with some science things. So, every teacher's just different what they grab and go with, but she's just trying to stay in tune with that. And then, with field trip season, honestly, I got to go to the Science Center today. So good, fun stuff. But as we implement the changes for our volunteers, I wanted that to be as out there as we could possibly get it. So there is a link there. If you go on our webpage and go, Josh and I work together. Oh, you're up here now. Josh and I work together quite a bit to make our website a little more user-friendly, easier to navigate. So if you just go to parents and teachers, highlight that, drops down, you'll see a visitor and volunteer section. You click on that, it will explain the whole thing. And each one of those forms that a parent needs to fill out or the volunteer needs to fill out is right there on the website. So that way, if anybody asks you about it or if you all have any questions, it's all right there so you can understand it. And of course, you can call the offices. They will send out as well. And the teachers are being very careful to make sure that they know who's coming to those trips. So we need to be safe for our kids. And so as they know who's coming to those trips, making sure that all the things are checked off that need to be done. 100th day of school is tomorrow. We're about to make it there. So that's a fun celebration. Got some dressing up maybe. And I think you have maybe some activities that may be going on around the building. I haven't heard yet what they are, but I think there's some things going on. And I just want to mention Terry O'Mealy and I met. We walked up on the ball field. Mr. Simley went with us, and I think Carl joined us at one point too. Just looking at, there's a lot of money that was raised in memory of Pat, and they wanted to have a flag placed up there. It's going to have a nice plaque in memorial to him. And so we looked at where the placement of that would be. I had wanted to bring that this month, but we're also looking at the flagpole in the front of the building because it's very close to the wires. And we noticed it was close to the wires, and we talked about, that's really not a good placement. And wouldn't you know, all that wind the next week, flop that flag right over the wires. And we said, okay, we really got to address this. So instead of rushing into that, wanted to just see what I can get through that company and see if we can get a little bit more out of that deal. If they're going to be here on site digging and doing, then maybe they can do a little more. So I hope to get something to you a little bit, or by next month, so we can get that flag at least going for the ball field and see where we go on the front of the building. I believe that's all I got.
Questions, Ms. Kingsley? No? Thank you. Move on to our action items. First on lunch up this month. E-rate bids. Dave, hello. You want to explain that big long sheet that is in there? The big dollars at the bottom?
Yeah, there's two items in there. The first one you're talking about is for networking equipment. Just refresh what E-rate is. That was came about at like the beginning of the internet in order to facilitate and subsidize getting equipment for school districts. That big number is not all out of your pockets. The funding is 80% from the government, from the USAC, Universal Service Fund, and then 20% is your responsibility of that. So those items are upgrading the network infrastructure. We did some stuff. A lot of what we did last summer to get things to where they are was interconnecting, some new fiber, some other things, but we used a lot of the hardware that was on hand because there wasn't the monies available. You've got old network switches, you've got other access points that are hand-me-downs from other districts. And so all this would replace every last Wi-Fi access point and switch that we can do, which means it has to be in support of academia. We can't use it, say, in a bus barn or something. To get it up to where it needs to be, being that it's subsidized, you can go with a product that will allow us to, track things even better, clamp down even more, get things to where, you know, hopefully they can't get on, at all. I say it with a grain of salt. You know, after they did finally get the Wi-Fi password from one of the networks, you know, after uploading. So it'll facilitate all of that. And so this bid includes the hardware upgrades and such for 5 years, so this is it for the next 5 years. And then after that, it's not like it goes poof, provided it's still supported by the manufacturer, it can continue to be used, but there's certainly a great need for this. And then things you have used, or I'm sorry, have purchased here more recently, we can relocate, like to the bus barn where there's gonna be, the athletic facility in there, better Wi-Fi coverage in the rest of the bus barn. As you all know, there's no cell coverage, so if something happens to somebody, at least they can use their cell phone over the Wi-Fi phone. So those items will get relocated and reused as appropriate. And then another thing, we will put some access points outside as part of this upgrade. So then once again, if something's going out, you know, or recess or whatnot, we're still gonna have connectivity as part of this package.
E-rate state money,
Federal.
federal money. Pretty sure that's gonna stay.
For this go around, well, actually, they tell you right, you know, the bucket's not guaranteed until,
Sure.
you know,
I
it's
know.
not done till it's done. But it is a whole separate thing, supposedly, you know, authorized by Congress and all that, but that doesn't seem, anyway.
Has the E-rate been approved yet through the federal? It hasn't, has it?
Yeah,
It has been for next year?
for this funding year is, they don't know exactly how much they can fund, but as a whole it is. But they give them a lot of leeway to do things on it. I haven't seen any chatter about that versus, you know, a myriad of other things that are being explored.
No one's thinking about that yet. Everything else, talk about E-rate's pretty boring.
Right.
So they haven't got there.
But we'd be responsible for 20% of the 78,
Correct.
right? So
Right.
15,
15.
15.5 or
It's
something.
15 something.
Looks like 20.
20,856.
There's another sheet. There's a, not just.
We
a set, there's
budgeted,
another.
see, we
Two.
budgeted an amount, but
Budget with
the increase
14.
ask is about 6,500.
And then another thing in that big list is a much better firewall for much better filtering and other things. that you- That's all included in there. And so it did creep up a little bit, and there's a little bit less of what they'll cover in terms of the firewalls and computer rules. They'll cover the hardware, but not the licensing.
But 15.6 is the right number.
For that amount, we didn't budget 15.6, we only budgeted about 10. So because of that, we have to pay the difference, which we said.
Okay, but it's not, we're not going to pay 20,000. We're going to pay 15,612. I don't understand. 20% of 78,000 is $15,600. So where's the $20,000 coming from?
There's more than just that 78, right, Dave?
There's the,
So the 78,313, in general, they cover the 80%. Like I was telling Mr. Sure,
Yeah.
there's one thing that they do not cover, the new firewall, they cover the hardware.
Okay,
But they
gotcha.
do not cover the
Now I'm on the
licensing,
same
don't
page.
ask me.
I'm just smart.
I
And so
missed-
then that whole
I
amount gets
apologize.
rolled
I missed
into it.
that
Makes more
part.
sense.
And
So
so
I'm with
that,
you now. I'm tracking.
78,313, they approved bucket 71,810, USAC will pay the 57, and then because of that, one exception, that makes the district's portion 20,856.
And we budgeted 14.3.
I'm good. I'm with you now. I just couldn't,
Yeah,
20%
no,
of
that's where it
78,000
came
is only so
from.
much, and I'm
It's
like, where are we doing
What are we
$20,000?
doing?
Whole different kind of math.
Yeah, it's that new math.
New math.
You divide before you multiply, you come up with a different answer, so.
You do?
I never have figured that out. How they say new math, but you get a totally different answer. That's not right. That's a whole different.
So that's the story
Maybe we were
on,
wrong.
on
You know,
that.
maybe that's how we did it. I've
Then
been wrong before.
the bucket does reset for next year. I don't, this stuff can only be used to distribute the internet to academic areas. I don't see you going into a whole lot next year.
We're gonna purchase this before June.
Or April.
No, so we can sign on it and then it won't be delivered until June.
But I mean, we're purchasing it before June. You won't get it till a bit later, but we're gonna get it bought this school year,
Yeah,
We're
correct?
gonna pre-buy.
Just checking to make sure I'm understanding we're buying it. This is for this current school year, not next school year.
My thing is, this time last year, we were trying to figure out if we were gonna have internet, let alone.
money's moving. I know. This is a great.
Sorry?
That's a good question as to when the monies will be due. That I am not 100%
Yeah,
sure
that-
of.
that's, yeah, okay. We purchase out of this school year,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just making sure, because that's where our budget money,
That's where our
that's
budget
where our
money
14 money is.
plays.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's where our 14,000 is.
That's
in the budget.
correct.
So we have to the end of June to
So
spend that,
we have
right?
to get it spent.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
I bet we can do that. Most people won't turn down your payment even
Well,
seriously.
he's just gonna give them back the sheet, sign it, and it's done deal. They'll
Yeah.
start moving it. Okay. Let's spend 20 to get 80.
Sounds good to me.
Motion to pay for the E-rate
I'll make a motion.
purchases. Mr. Shear, second, Mr. Thompson. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 7-0. You can purchase. Make sure you get a purchase order.
And crypto's the password.
Yeah. Yeah, see how long that lasts.
Separate item on the agenda. Or is
Yeah.
it for-
I think that should have all gone together, that you're talking about the category one.
Yeah, the category.
Yeah, which
Yeah,
included,
so you
the-
just have to vote.
which was part of all of that.
Okay.
Well, maybe not.
Well, we
Because
didn't,
that's
we
the change of the
didn't address
interest.
it at all. So I would
Yeah,
make
that's a
sure
different-
That'd probably be
here and
different.
then-
Yeah.
That's an even better deal for you. So there's
That's a way
two
better.
parts. Category 2 is the hardware. Category 1 is your internet connectivity that gets rebid every so often. So we went out for competitive
does.
bids, and you're getting a lot more for a lot less. So you were at 250 when I came. We doubled it for this school year. Now you're gonna go up to 1 gig. Right now, it's like 1,300 and it's going down to 660 for the gig. So, good deal. And that, once again, is subsidized as well. You only pay 20%.
That's awesome.
Had to go, some of that
Big
savings
deal.
to get.
So, yeah, a little bit of savings there.
You won't get that savings.
And I have their internet at my house and it is all fucked up.
It is
Oh,
top of the line.
It is
I've,
fast.
I've never had anything,
Double
we've
not
had
had any
18
problems.
devices going, not one of them spin on gas saves internet. Just at my house.
You guys have it, Darrell?
They didn't, they didn't. I don't
What is the school on now?
will you show me?
Yeah, they don't even have a,
Show
they
me
don't have
power.
a plan to
Yeah.
build it.
Tell them they get another.
This, the G-Tech has been
We have the star.
just awesome.
That's
That's
what we
good to
have.
hear. I
Absolutely.
It works pretty good.
Absolutely awesome.
It was better than the 18.
We were the first road they put it on, so we've had it for, I've had it for, I don't know, almost 3 years now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a big fan of.
I think I've had to reboot it 4 times.
I could get a phone,
Pretty
but they don't have fiber. We can't, CenturyLink doesn't offer us fiber spectrum.
So let's go ahead, since we're changing to another company, let's go ahead and make a motion that we was gonna.
I'll motion with the G-Tech for the category 1.
Yeah, that's G-Tech.
Mr. Shear with the motion, second, Mr. Thompson. What your man is gonna save us a little bit of money,
Yeah.
about half, actually.
A little more.
That's the deal. Any more discussion? Seeing none, proceed to vote. All those please in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 7-0.
I guess I
Thank
should have
you,
asked Dave
Dave.
to make
Thanks,
this
Dave.
all
This,
enough
man, you,
internet.
you have really, I
Obviously,
mean, you put this up
that's really
front.
enough to
Yeah.
run.
Yeah.
everything you
Yeah.
need.
Oh, yeah, the gig, you guys will be.
You have done fantastic.
Now, he means thanks for coming in and making us.
The whole thing, from
And
last
making
year
it
to
work.
now.
Yes.
You came
You
into a
have been
mess
tremendous.
and kind of made things so much better.
Thanks
Thanks,
for what
Lord.
you do.
What a deal. The computer comes on.
You got this gentleman for your day-to-day, and he's doing a
Yes.
fantastic job.
Yes, Josh is doing.
Good, glad good. They even clapped for you with it.
Much love from the
Cookies.
Edmonds.
Yes, yes, yes.
Do you like sweet treats or anything?
You got this, go unplug it, man. They won't ever know that you can have to plug it back in to fix it.
Yeah,
They'll
they'll
think
be
you're a
like-
genius, man.
But don't go where and do it right away. Take a couple of minutes.
Yeah,
Right, then
yeah,
come
wait
back.
like 5 or 6 hours, plug it back in and go, it took me all that long.
Man, that was a hard one.
Don't do that.
We're supposed to make it. We're supposed to make you better. We're not doing that.
We did not tell him.
Scratch all that. Can we delete that from the
They'll
record?
be watching him now.
On the internet.
All right, we move on to
You should never
action
listen to
item
mine.
letter B for our OPA extension for 1 year for our cafeteria services. I think next year we're required to go out to bid, so we'll have to do a bid next year, but we could extend for 1 year with this one.
Before we do that, can you give us a talk about how the transition of things have been going since the last time we talked, and there was some hiccups, you might say.
I'd say hiccups still going on.
Okay.
Brooke, who is, I don't know what her actual title is, more like a regional manager type feel. She's been in and able to help quite a bit, but she had a training she had to attend last week, and I think that was a rough time for her to be gone. There were definitely several calls. CFP didn't go as well. Some changing in staff going on there. Just some things. There is a
Which
new
we talked about that
hire.
last time.
Did we? I couldn't
A little bit.
remember.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure of that one. I think I talked about a change of staff as far as cafeteria manager. So there's been a hire there,
What is it called?
CACFP.
Is that the after?
That's the after
Yeah,
school.
you talked to us about. it.
Did I?
Yes.
Okay. So there's some changes going on there, and then they have hired somebody to be a kitchen manager. And so I
Which they
think
hadn't
they had
last
not,
time we talked.
and she just started this week.
Yeah.
So I would anticipate now that we'll probably start to
It's
see that.
smoother and-
Yeah.
Should be, hopefully, since
I
we're
hope
not
so.
having someone from off the site coming in,
Right.
different personnel.
Right.
Makes sense.
You know, they.
So hopefully a little
you know, they
better,
do-
and then hoping to add another person, so they'll just have a little bit more
Yeah,
filled out staff, which I think is gonna make a
I
difference.
know some-
New person with added staff this year, or they
Currently,
gonna
they're looking to hire now.
So we're gonna hire now.
Looking to hire now.
I mean, it's
Lady
crazy.
Young, the primary
It
school.
seems like.
Oh, it's too bad. No, they're gonna hire now, and I do know they've already changed up some of the
They might
menu
be, we're
items.
on the budget
And they've
list, they're
definitely
playing, they're on
had some
the.
nice conversations,
It's gonna be.
more people eating, walking tacos, kids getting excited, so I think you all
That's
probably
what they're
see
doing
some
for the blood
positive as
drive,
well.
but
Definitely
it's
in the
not.
menu.
Menu is starting to
I
change.
I don't know, I had to give Miss Donna $52 to catch up my lunch bill, so, and I pack lunch every day, so I'm trying to figure out. And the lunch must be getting better.
I believe, yes.
Yeah.
That's all I
I
can
believe it
say.
is.
Participation.
I think she's been feeding it to Mr. Assembly.
Does that diet
you're
mean you
enjoying
just
my-
quit buying?
Home pack lunches every day, Mr. Assembly.
And I have a motion to extend for 1 year. Motion, Mr.
Second.
Bookshire, second, Mr. Birdsong, to extend OPA for the 25-26 school year.
Yeah, I believe
Yep.
it's getting into
I think
that.
that's right.
Crazy. Yeah.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 7-0. Approval for our contract with our NEE system, which is how we go through our evaluations of our teachers, administrators, coaches if they want to.
And we're currently using that program, correct?
Yep.
How long have we been doing that?
Started last year,
That's what I knew it was
So-
new,
a
but
little bit harder to get going last year
Used
because of
to.
all the training.
We used to do it several years
Sure.
ago. Then they stopped doing that at the expense, I think, at one point. Money was really, really tight.
Yeah.
I think they stopped using that, and then they
brought it back.
now gonna bring it back.
Happy with that?
Yes, I've used it, and these guys have used it before, so they're very familiar with it as well, and I think it's a nice system. But I
The
do
cost
like to
didn't
do,
seem to be that bad.
and I just kind of like to go 1 year at a time. There's no real cost benefit to doing 3. So you never know what new things are gonna come out.
Yeah.
Just go 1 at a time is what I'm,
You don't save any money then.
It just doesn't go up.
That's
Yeah,
the
it
only
locks you
thing.
in.
It locks
yes.
you in.
And they tend to not go up very often. They were gonna go up this year, but it's been the first time in a long time. So they don't try to.
Tell them what you next. Motion to 1605.
Motion.
Yeah.
16 something, right?
Yeah.
1605.
Yeah.
No, I don't, all right, then you put it on there, did I?
No, it's in there. It's just in small.
I
print.
didn't, yeah, okay.
We got a second by Mr. Brooks.
Motion, Mr. Thompson, to do the one-year contract with NEE. Second, Mr. Brookshire, correct?
Yes.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 7-0. Contract with our building independence therapy, which is our occupational therapy. We do these every year. Kelly?
No, yes, I'm sorry, Kelly Durden.
Mhm. She's been with us for a while.
Yeah, 3 or 4 years, maybe longer. I lose track of how.
She's been nice.
Long it's been.
Really good.
I've known her.
Now, the
Long as I
lady
can-
who actually comes now, what's her name?
Kristen.
Kristen's the one who's actually coming now. Kelly's kind of overseeing.
Motion to extend or approve the contract with building independence therapy.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Birdsall.
Second.
Second, Mrs. Wells. He's barely alive. She's been lifting boxes for the last 3 days.
Hey, it's not like you moved an entire school in 3 hours yesterday.
Oh, it actually took us 6.
I was giving you a lot of credit, Darla. I knew the true answer, but I was trying to help you out.
She
Jack.
blew that one, didn't she?
6
All
hours.
right.
Anyway,
The
moving right
entire
along.
building.
Any further discussion? And we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 7-0. Contract with our physical therapy company.
Kristen, the one.
No,
No, it's
who's OT?
What's the?
OT is Kelly Jurgens.
No,
Well,
sorry.
Okay, but
It's
so
not
Kristen's
PT.
physical therapy?
PT.
Kristen does physical therapy on her own,
Oh, on their own.
but then she works with Kelly to do the OT.
There you go.
Okay.
No, that's okay.
Couldn't have made
It's
that more confusing, could I?
It took me a minute.
Yeah.
As long as one of us understands what's happening.
Did not hear that often.
PT is,
Uh,
we don't have much PT.
no.
I'll make a motion.
Motion, Mr. Birdsall.
Second.
Second, Mrs. Wells. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 7-0. Policy update 5500 is a mandatory approval. So, I don't know, we have a lot of choice there.
It already
Need a
exists.
motion?
Yeah.
All the did was put by American. Really.
Second.
Okay, motion, Mr. Berkshire, second, Mr. Shear, to do our mandatory approval for the, and it's just a change of, with some wording. Really isn't any change to the
Not
policy
changing our
itself.
practice at all.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 7-0. Now our favorite subject for the next couple of months
No, I make a motion, we table this,
will be.
and just never talk about it.
I'm gonna second that.
Yeah, I will. Yes.
If we could just have everybody do that,
Yeah.
that'd be okay.
We could get them to listen. We could just get them to listen.
We've been battling open enrollment for the last 5 years.
He didn't listen.
It has passed through the House the last 2 years, I think,
Yeah.
and went to the Senate.
It's going this year.
Senate will,
Right here.
if you have read the, what has been sent from the House to the Senate, that will change some as the Senate does their tweaking of that.
Yeah.
No one really knows what that means, which is so fun at this particular point as a school administrator. Lucky bunch you guys have over there. Yay, go team. But It's pretty apparent for the first time in the last 5 years that open enrollment's not going to go away. It has a very close vote once again, but it appears it's probably going to pass unless it just surprises. In the past, we could have said, we probably got a pretty good hold, it's probably not going to. It's gonna be tight, but it probably won't. I'm not sure we're in that boat this year. In fact, almost
It's possible,
certain-
but
It depends on what the Senate tweaks it to. If they tweak too much of it, then it probably will not pass again. If they don't tweak too much of it and keep it to what the House passed, it probably will go through. So
At the end, it's
Just
gonna be what it's
depends.
gonna be, and we'll have to figure out
Yeah.
how to handle it. I mean, no
Now,
matter what.
the critical parts in that are what the percentage of what are allowed to go out of district if they choose to do so. To your point, I think that's 3%. One time that was capped. 3% could leave and that was it. Now that's been taken out. And it's 3% every year that could. Now, keep in mind, just because they want to go to a different district doesn't mean that district has to take them. They don't have to take
I was
anyone.
gonna ask that.
They don't have to take anyone on this open enrollment.
Yeah.
If the other district chooses not to take them, they don't have to. So my encouragement would be for all districts to say together, we don't take anybody on open enrollment, y'all are, here we are. But that won't happen either. But still yet, if you look at the numbers, 3% every year, and someone would be willing to take that 3%, for little small schools like us, it's detrimental.
yeah, and quickly.
It doesn't take very long for us to get ourselves in a really tight bind of how we're going to continue to support what Newburg has. Again, it all depends on how many other districts are willing to take and if that's really what they're going to do. That is so much up in the air that there's no way to guess that. But those numbers are there. At one point, they had really worked on transportation and how those kids were going to get transported from the district that they wanted to not be in anymore to the new one that they wanted to go to. Who was going to be responsible for that? They've done some tweaking and made that to where that's responsible for the parent to get them to the nearest bus stop for the district that they wanted to go. It's still a mess how they're going to do that. I don't think there's a real good conclusion to it yet. But for us, ours is about enrollment numbers. That's what it kind of comes down to for us, is whether our enrollment numbers can continue to stay where we need them to be, for us to stay liquid. And
I think we just have to continue to do the things, be on the offense, and continue to do the things we're doing to continue to give those kids an option to stay here, give them a reason to stay.
on the reverse side of that, there may be some students that want to come here instead of where they may be. That could be possible.
Make
There
sure
are
our
some
school stays
draws.
attractive.
There are some draws to being a small school.
Yes, there are.
And there are some parents that
I
find that to
don't
be
know.
very attractive.
That is a good question, Matt.
I think it said, doesn't athletes lose a year of eligibility if they transfer? So,
Yeah, if it's not a move, if it's
Like
not
a
a
physical
family move.
move. Yeah.
if it's in just,
If they just choose to go to the other.
If they would choose, then you would lose a big year.
Who knows?
That way it's not just a recruiting tool. But I mean, I think for us, we continue, building the programs we've been building and what we've been doing and keeping our image where we're at.
we're just gonna have to shine.
That's exactly what we're gonna have to do.
Exactly. I mean,
We're gonna have to look like Matt and I with our hats off.
Better start hiring staff.
They're coming in hotter now.
she said something about taking a picture there. I was like, oh, wear a hat. Maybe not, because I'm one of the only few who's got hair.
Why you gotta be like that?
Because just mean like that, man.
I just think, we're gonna, one on more as we get closer, but the numbers that, had Tracy put a few numbers together, you saw it in your packets, those numbers you can kind of,
Still a lot of what ifs though, and I hate,
so many what
I
ifs.
hate
You
voting
can't-
or talking about what ifs, because we can't fix it.
You can't,
We
can't
can be
predict-
prepared
you
and
can't
kind of
predict.
understand what's coming, but
This is one that's hard to predict because you
This
don't have.
already isn't a what if, 305, 306 is already bad.
Yes.
Yeah,
Current
right.
numbers are
I mean, it's not good at all.
No. Terrible place to get started.
Our current number doesn't help us.
Mm-mm.
Any questions about open enrollment? Do you want to discuss an open ceremony? Open thought? Not that we're going to discuss them anywhere else.
We just don't
there's
know.
too much unknown to really discuss a whole
Just
lot.
hard to get very far.
But I do think we need to have a little hearsay here and there on it.
Well, no more as it gets hard to go anywhere and you're stuck.
Well, like Tony said, there's
Wait and see.
wait and see. You can't change it.
We just gotta continue to be on the offensive.
Wait and see. Yeah.
See what can we continue to do better than other,
And that's the conversations we have pretty
That's-
regularly, and making sure we're sharing out all the things that we can about our story, the things that are going
Well,
on.
hopefully we can promote ourselves like the story you did for the eighth grade students from that year. I heard such wonderful things about that. And the way you all promoted from one, they were coming in on this end, but we need to be able to make that from one end to the other. But that was fantastic. So I think if we can keep that same thought and spirit, I think we can bring something here.
I do too. I really do.
There's
a lot of things to highlight, sure.
Yes, there are. And you really talk, that's a big one, what you mentioned. The idea that when you go to a larger school, you really do have to select what you get to participate in.
Yeah.
And here, we do everything that we can to let every kid participate in everything they
Yeah,
want
it's
to
tremendous.
participate in.
Yeah.
And I just think that's a huge piece for some kids. Get to do
Why
all
can't
those
you be
things.
in band and FFA at the same time? You can't
That's
hear.
right, you can.
Well,
You'll find
my
a
thing
way.
is, I really think, because like the kids coming from there, it's not really their choice at the end of the
Probably
day.
have to.
Right.
But if it were their choice, out of those 13, we would have got probably half or three
I
quarters.
think you're right, and I feel that way last year too.
So,
They really were interested, and we thought, over time, we anticipate more will start as we start to really show them, and they keep going back home and talking about it.
the problem is Mr. Simile over there keeps saying no to girls volleyball.
Actually, we had a very lengthy conversation about volleyball yesterday. Mr. Simile's actually put some numbers together and talked a little
My wife's coached volleyball for 26 years.
bit. He's volunteering.
Well, sounds like we already got coach figured out.
Yeah.
On our way.
One step. Thanks for volunteering her.
Piece of puzzle.
She's a nice lady, trust me.
Not that long ago,
Did you?
about 45 years ago.
Because we have.
Yeah, before, one of the last remodels with our main floor gym, it still had the holes for the
Well,
net.
that's what I thought years ago, the whole
Did we have it
school.
at one point?
Yeah, when we were in school, you
Long time.
did.
So there's no hole there.
That's 40 years.
But there might still be.
No, there's,
I bet it's underneath.
You're really,
I bet it's underneath there.
Carl, I'm kidding.
Exploratory danger.
Exploratory.
That's one thing we don't need a Mr. Doer on.
No way.
All right, next
I
meeting,
guess I said that out loud.
April, you did, April
You did.
17th. I think we
On
did.
camera.
Is that right?
No. You'll catch me in the hallway when
April 17th, I think it's a third Thursday. We will have our reorganization meeting also that we need to schedule. So it'll be reorganization 6:15.
well, we
don't have a vote, but we have-
So we got swear them in.
We got to swear them in.
Managers.
So we organize.
I'm gonna be in Bora Bora that week.
Yeah.
17th, good for people.
Of course you are.
6:15, good for everybody for the reorganizational meeting.
And that's within time,
Well.
because that one's actually got to be after, is it the first Tuesday? or the second Tuesday.
What's vote day?
It's either the 1st or the 8th.
Might have to move it up a little.
Yeah, because I think it's the 1st, isn't it? Is it actually on April Fool's Day is the election? Is that right? Or is it the 8th?
Anybody know when we vote?
Usually it's 7th or something, isn't it?
Anybody get out of here?
We have
Anybody
Wi-Fi.
get out? Yeah, Wi-Fi.
Anybody got Wi-Fi?
Yeah, Wi-Fi.
Well, it's always on a Tuesday.
I don't have it hooked up to my phone.
Yeah.
Just check and
Is
see
it on the
when,
1st or the 8th?
when's the April date? April vote date from the state of Missouri.
I'm pretty sure we just
I don't
approved
know,
all
my
this.
phone just says 15th's the tax day, so, you know.
April 8th.
April the 8th?
Okay, so
So we're-
it's 14 days after that. So we're good.
We're good. Organization, 6:15,
Are
regular
you
board
really gone
meeting,
then?
No.
6:30.
No, I'm leaving in the morning for Florida, so I'm trying to get this meeting done here.
Good? Need a motion to go into executive?
I'll make that motion.
Motion, Mr. Shears, second, Mr. Birdsong. You raise your hand.
Fine with
Okay.
me.
All right.
Okay.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay. You're ready to do the roll call. Mr. Thompson, Wells, Shushank, Shear,
Present.
Sharp, seven,
Yo.
we're good. Take 5 minutes.
Hey,
Can we do a picture in between?
Yeah.
Right now? Can
Yeah.
we go do it?
Yeah.
All right. It'll be dark outside, isn't it? Is it dark there?
looks
I
like.
think enough, right? It is
It's
dark.
been-
Let's maybe, we could go in front of them.